All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Declassified, the podcast, and we have a great show for you tonight. We've got a lot of stuff that we're going to be going over. We are diving into glitches in time. I found another one that is really good. We're going to be going into Skinwalkers. We haven't talked a lot about them, but I've got 2 or 3 clips, potentially, that could categorize as Skinwalkers. So we'll talk about that. We're going to be talking a lot about ghosts, and we're going to dive down a path that we really haven't talked about, kids and ghosts. What do they look at and kind of what do they see? And then also what we would be looking for if we had an indoor camera, something along those lines. What could a real ghost be? Because I've been very vocal about the fact that I don't necessarily think that orbs mean there's a ghost or a haunting, but I haven't told you what I would look for. So we're going to do some of that, and then we're getting into demons. It's going to be a good one. This is After Hour Comedy Declassified. All right, everyone, welcome to Declassified, the podcast. A lot of stuff, everything I mentioned in the intro, we are going to talk about, and it's going to be a good show, and I'm going to end it with a big bang. Like one clip that really I don't even like looking at myself. So it is, it's a doozy. It's probably like, we're not really looking to do like jump scares here, but if I had to say anything that would really make your skin crawl, that's what I'm going to be showing you at the end of the show tonight. So let's get into it and let's start talking about some of the other stuff and what we're going to be going into. Let's start with glitches in time. We've talked about this a few times, so we're going to go back. Now, let me break this down for you, ladies and gentlemen. What we are looking at is someone driving their car, and then they're looking at the lane that is next to them. So on the right, you're looking at, let me see if I can get my mouse over here. Right here where my mouse is kind of circling, this guy in this little convertible. He is, looks like by himself, okay? So he's in the driver's seat, and then you're going to notice the guy who has the camera is going to zoom in. When he zooms in, you're going to see the guy who's driving physically, so the one who's actually driving, like the person, start turning his head left and right. But then what you're going to notice is that the side mirror, you can see the reflection of the guy, but his head doesn't turn. Check it out. This one's nuts.
Watching this dude through the mirror, right? And his face is moving, but look at that. His face just moved, but the guy in the mirror is seeing the same. Yo.
Now I'm gonna go back. Let me go back again so you guys can kind of watch this and see. Now there are a number of things that could kind of cause this, right? So that could just be an illusion, and I think really before I dove into glitch in time, so like I haven't seen anything like appear out of nowhere. I haven't seen something frozen in the air. I would start looking towards the lines of, okay, illusion. How could this be recreated? Maybe if there was someone else in the back seat, we're seeing their reflection, but it doesn't really look like there is here. And now when he actually, I would say if it's a slight motion, okay, it could be an illusion, but those are pretty big and dramatic head turns. Check this out again, one more time.
A mirror, right?
So it's right here.
And his face is moving.
Right there.
Look at that. His face just moved, but the guy in the mirror is seeing the same. Yo. The Matrix is broken.
I like this guy's reaction. Let me go back one more time. It's not necessarily when he's looking down and looking up. It's when he actually looks to the right is where you really dramatically notice that that's a dramatic turn. The one in the mirror is not moving.
It just moved, but the guy in the mirror is seeing the same.
Right here, when he turns right.
Yo.
Oh.
The Matrix is...
Sorry, I didn't go back far enough. It's going to be like right here where his head turns right.
And his face is moving.
Right here.
But look at that. His face just moved, but the guy in the mirror is seeing the same. Yo. The Matrix is broken.
The Matrix is broken, ladies and gentlemen. So there you go. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about glitches in time. Is this a glitch in time? So I think it very well could be something. Now we have to dive a little bit more into what that could be, but I love when glitches in time show up because those are the one things, it's the one thing where really you look at it and you're like, oh man, that's a mind breaker right there. So glitches in time showed up again. Here's another one. We've talked about planes, birds, all this kind of stuff. Check it out, man. I don't know who's running the program, but as this guy told us, there is a glitch in the Matrix. Now, let's move on. I don't know if we've talked about this a whole lot. Skinwalkers. Skinwalkers are something that I would say it sounds a lot creepier than what it really is. Now, we're going to go and we're going to talk about Skinwalker Ranch. So there's a property that's owned by a private family, and it's privately owned, and it's called Skinwalker Ranch. Now, Skinwalker Ranch is noticed and kind of known for paranormal things. So you have ghosts, a lot of UFOs, but on that, you actually have skinwalkers. Historically, what skinwalkers were and kind of where they came from is Native Americans that were kind of pushed off of that land, cursed that land, and cursed the people that pushed them off, and then they turned into skinwalkers. Now, there's another theory that a skinwalker could also be a witch. So another thing that people might know from pop culture and kind of urban legends would be a shapeshifter. Those all would categorize into what a skinwalker is. Now, this footage right here is potentially of a skinwalker. Now, it's a trucker who kind of does a route and he's filming, so it's kind of grainy footage, I'm not going to lie to you. But what we're looking at right here is we're looking at this creature. I say creature because we don't know what it is. Now, when we look at it, kind of looks like a person crawling on the rocks. No distinct features. It really kind of looks like a black silhouette. But what we're going to watch and what we're going to look at is we're going to look at when it walks away. Okay. So there's a little bit of a closer look at it. I see kind of what looks like a head, potentially arms, some legs. Honestly, to me, it looks like someone crawling up a rock. Okay. But it's going to get up and it's going to run away. As it gets up and runs away, it's going to kind of shapeshift. So that shape and that form we're looking at right now changes. Okay, now it's going to get up and go. Okay, now I'm going to break this down for you because that all happened really quick. So as we're looking at it like right here, no distinct features, right? And I also said it looks kind of like someone crawling on a rock. Like it looks like just a black shadow figure, like a shadow person we've talked about. And as it gets up and walks away, I'm going to pause again because it actually kind of changes form. But once it gets into the sunlight, then it looks like an animal. But the weird thing is this is daytime. So even here, you should still be able to see some of the fur, some of the colors of the fur, which we can't. So that's where it gets a little funny. All right, so right here it gets up and it kind of morphs. And now as it kind of morphs, where my mouse is, we're kind of looking at an animal. This guy sucks with a camera, by the way. Kind of really sucks with a camera. There we go. As it's kind of going, this is a good stopping point for it right here. Now it kind of looks like an animal. But in my mind, that looks like a different form than what it was in before, because before it looked more human-like to where it was crawling. Now it definitely looks like, well, it could be a bobcat, could be whatever, but different stature, right? So very, very odd. That's kind of what a skinwalker is. So I wanted to bring that to the table. Skinwalkers, basically, they are shapeshifters, more or less. Some people do believe they're witches, and they can, you know, potentially curse you, things like that. But we really don't have a lot of accounts of that happening, okay? More than anything, it's really just a shapeshifter. Now, how would a shapeshifter lure you in if they wanted to lure you in and actually curse you or do whatever? Well, this is actually something we're going to step away from YouTube for a minute. And when we step away from YouTube, let's take a look at this. We are going to be going over, unfortunately, it's a TikTok video. I absolutely hate TikTok because you can't share it. You can't do anything like that. So we're going to go through, and this is a guy riding a horse. Now, the reason that this kind of got some attention in the paranormal world was because the guy's riding a horse, and you're going to hear something almost like a kid or a female yell, "Hey," and he has no idea where it's coming from. So what we're thinking, and what this guy was thinking, and a lot of other investigators are thinking, is that could be a shapeshifter trying to lure this guy in. Okay, here's the video.
It's coming in from planting those trail cameras. There's vultures everywhere. It's odd.
It's going to be somewhere when he's riding. I don't know when, because it's a TikTok. There it was. All right. Oh, when you can't even go back on a TikTok. TikTok sucks. All right. Well, hopefully you guys all heard that where it said, "Hey."
Hey.
And now he started turning all the way around. So we're going to watch this one more time because there's no scroll bar. Frickin' TikTok.
It's coming in from planting those trail cameras. There's vultures everywhere. It's odd.
It's right about here. Come on now. Okay, there was one. Now, that's a pause. Doesn't look like it, but that was one. Okay, a very clear, audible, "Hey." And now we're going to hear another one, too. The guy doesn't know what this is, so he turned around, and that's when he started riding really fast.
Hey.
And he's out. And he's out. Now, a lot of people are saying that that is a skinwalker, but I'm going to kind of go down a different line of thinking. So what I'm going to kind of bring to the table and have you think about is that could be a skinwalker, right? I've never actually heard any accounts of a skinwalker yelling or talking or anything like that. So it could be. I don't know. I'm not one to shoot that down because I genuinely don't know. But it could also be an apparition, like a spirit. Like that could be a haunted area. It's not uncommon to have sides of roads be haunted. We've talked about ghost brides in the past. Haven't necessarily talked about ghost kids on the road, but it happens a lot more than you would think too. So it could be a skinwalker, but it also equally could just genuinely be some kind of ghost as well. Now, we don't know that, but it yells, and you even hear the guy go like, "What the F?" And then he turns around and starts running away. Could be a skinwalker. That's what people are saying it is. But I also would like to open the door to that could just genuinely be a haunted area, right? And kind of when we talk about anytime you hear a female voice or a kid's voice, be careful, right? So generally, it's not a good sign. So potentially it could be, unless it's something you recognize. Even then, be careful because some of the more dangerous spirits will try to lure you in because females and kids, they're more vulnerable in our minds. So we think, oh, it's okay, they need help. And then you go in, and that's how they lure you in too. So, skinwalkers. Skinwalkers, if it's a shapeshifter, now let's start going down the line of what would that look like? Are they, are shapeshifters potentially among us? Now, this is something that is not new. It's kind of all over the place. And it's really, when we talk about it, it's something that it's a coin flip. Some people believe it, like really believe it, and then some people don't. So reptilians, right? And so lizard people, things like that. Skinwalkers. So if they can shapeshift, could they shapeshift into humans and then pose, in real life and be some of the most notably famous people that we know? Mark Zuckerberg would be one of them. Literally looks like a lizard. Check this out. This was on a TV show, and as this woman is talking, she blinked. But when she blinked, it's when it caught everyone's attention.
Все идут, скажем, отдал.
All right, now check that out. I'm going to go back and I'm going to kind of play that for you again. So let's see. I'm going to go right back from the beginning of the clip. I'm going to go full screen and just watch. When she blinks, now this was just during a normal interview. So it's not even like they stopped and anyone noticed. It was listeners and viewers that actually caught this. But check it out. Here we go.
Это все идут, скажем, отдал.
Okay, now what they're going to do is they're going to zoom in and they're going to show you that blink. Here's the blink. Okay, now I've got to pause here, right? So this could potentially be edited. There is a way to edit this, but this is not the first time we've heard of this kind of thing. Justin Bieber has had actual footage of doing the same kind of blink. Miley Cyrus has. There's been a lot of other people, famous people, that have kind of, I say, been caught blinking like this. So I guess the question is now, what do we think about this? This one could be a little out there for some people, right? Some people are going to believe it. Some people aren't going to believe it. I'm not really even sure where I stand on this, to be completely honest. I think it's interesting. I think there could be something to it, right? So there's a lot we don't know, and this could be one of the many things. I stand on the side of there are enough stories where there has to be some truth to it. Even if it's a lie, all lies have some truth, right? And we don't know to the extent of what it is or what's going on, but I genuinely think this is something that we need to look into, and it's kind of a path we're going to start going down a little bit more on Declassified. So in some of the further kind of future episodes, we're going to be pulling clips of celebrities, and we're going to dive into this a lot more. I just need to do a little bit of more research on it, but I wanted to open the door, and in the comments, what do we think? Is this potentially something that's walking amongst us, lizard people or skinwalkers or reptilians or whatever you want to call them? Let me know. I don't know. So, interesting nonetheless. Now, as far as kind of paranormal, let's go back to the ghost side of things and let's start talking about paranormal. This is going to be the majority of what we talk about tonight. So get ready. This is going to be a roller coaster, and it's going to end with a bang. So here we go. It is a British family, so triplets. Now, it's not uncommon, and we've talked about it before. It's not uncommon for kids to actually go and see spirits, like wherever their crib is and wherever their bedroom is. It's not uncommon for them to go and see a ghost or talk to an imaginary friend. That is a little bit more than an imaginary friend, and it kind of goes from there. So it's not uncommon to have all of that happen, but what we do need to look at is some of the things that kids could potentially be seeing. And we're going to go down that road. But let's start with a news story, because I always like when the news starts to capture anything as far as the paranormal, because generally they make a joke about it, but the fact that they're covering it means that it got enough, clout to where it started to become a thing. So triplets, they see something in their room, not uncommon. Check it out. Here's the story. And this is the thesis, and we'll kick us off for the rest of the clips.
This is the moment three sisters saw what they thought was a monster on their wall.
She said there's a monster on the wall.
The fact the triplets all saw the same thing makes this story extra creepy, and we're going to tell you exactly what happened.
Dramatic music.
It was a normal day at their home in Georgia. 2-year-old triplets Presley, Millie and Hayes woke up from their daily nap.
By the way, I'm just going to kind of break it down for you, only because I don't want you to be disappointed. What they're going to say they saw is not as scary as they're making it out to be. Which always, right? That's why I hate Hollywood. That's why we've talked about it before. I hate the take on horror and things like that, because it's not really what it is. But just listen.
As they always do.
I was at home, and the girls had been laid down for a nap. They had been sleeping, and they woke up.
But as Mum Caitlin watched her daughters play on the monitor, things took a supernatural turn.
All right, I got to pause here for something. The screaming was really loud in my headphones. That's what you saw. The music is really dramatic. Really, when we look at the original clip, which I almost wish I could have found that, but I couldn't. This is all I could. I was looking for the original. I came across this, and so I'm like, okay. But in the original clip, they're screaming, but there's nothing going on in the room, okay? Now, notice we can't see anything on the camera either. So there's nothing going on in the room. we can't see anything on the camera. They're just screaming, but the music is making it look like something's attacking them or whatever. Not even close to being true.
Caitlin saw her triplets communicating with something on their wall. Something so scary, it prompted them to back off and hide behind their closet.
All three of them were staring at the exact same space and pointing at it. She said, "There's a monster on the wall."
The whole thing might have ended there, and Caitlin and the girls would have forgotten about the ghost in the wall. But it happened again. A few nights later, as they slept, not in their cots this time, some kind of ghostly figure appeared to fly in front of the camera. Millie then woke up, apparently convinced there was something in the room.
Millie woke
Okay,
up from a
we
dream.
need to pause there because what just went in front of the camera, that's a leap to say it's a ghostly figure. What I would say it doesn't look like an orb. It looks like a mist, okay? Lock that away in your brain because we're going to talk about that in a little bit. That looks like a mist. So in this scenario, it's not an orb, okay? Because an orb would be a ball. That looks like a mist. A mist is now something I would validate as, okay, probably spirit activity, but we need to figure out what at this point, okay? So a mist, not an orb. That's what I think it was. I don't think it was a ghost. I think it was a mist.
And when I went into the bedroom, she said, "There's a monster on the wall." And I asked her where, and she pointed to that same spot.
Obviously, both incidents could be a product of healthy toddlers' active imaginations. But it's pretty unusual for three kids to see the same ghostly figure in the same place. Either
I think
way,
that's a
it's
valid
left
point.
Caitlin.
Because if it's just one, right, then, okay, maybe it's that kid playing a joke. You don't really know. If you have three of them and they're all looking at the same thing, maybe you have something. But what I would also say is generally when one person is scared, it feeds into the other people equally being scared, even if they don't know why, right? That's contagious. So I would say that's probably one of the smarter things that they said. But I don't know if I necessarily agree with it.
A little bit unnerved.
I don't have any idea if it's something that's like attached to them or us. They say that kids can see more things than adults. What it is, I have no idea.
What do you think?
Which is true. Kids can see more things than adults. I don't know if we've ever talked about the reason why. It's because they're not jaded yet, right? So they're innocent. They haven't really grown up and learned to doubt the world. So they're more open to the possibility. And because they're more open, whether they're putting off that aura or that energy or that vibration or whatever your background or your practice calls it, the spirits or whatever can sense that, and then they're more drawn to that energy than maybe mine, where I'm like, nope, it's an old house, it's just a door creaking, whatever, you know. So that's why.
The girls saw. Let us know in the comments.
There we go. Let us know in the comments. Thanks for throwing that there. Now, we talked about that mist in that video. They didn't tell you. Now, when I kind of watched another interview on that, what the mom said that they looked up and they saw what looked like a lion, which I thought they were going to say it in that video, but they didn't. And a lion's not really that scary, right? But they said monster. So maybe the monster, the closest relation to what they could look up and see was a lion. That's kind of how their brains put it together, whatever. Now, that mist. So in that last video, that mist went by. I said, okay, it's not an orb. It's a mist. So kind of like you see in the background of this layout right here. The mist is generally a better telltale sign that you actually have some kind of haunting or some kind of spirit activity. The mist is still technically, it's still technically an energy, but it's actually more of a manifestation. So what it is whereas an orb, you can't see it in person, you can only see it on a camera. It's a ball of energy. So let's say that orb goes by and then we see a mist after. Now you have a correlation, right? So the way that works, the orb, the reason it's not a haunting, but a mist is the orb is the energy. So a ghost or a spirit could pull the energy from the orb, and in order to manifest itself, which if you don't know what that means, in order to show itself or to get your attention, it could present itself in the form of a mist. But the orb is the energy, the mist is kind of what that spirit decided to show itself as, right? So in that last video, I would say that was a mist, and I would say that is more along the lines of something I would say, okay, let's get in there and investigate because you might have a haunting here. And I don't think I've ever really broken it down like that, but that's why I don't think orbs are hauntings. Orbs are energy, and from the energy, if you see anything that correlates, like objects moving or whatever, now it makes sense. Now you have the energy, they drew the energy, and that's how they chose to show themselves. Like in this video. This video is going to show you a mist, and it's a good example of that. Okay? Now, at some point, we're going to see a mist, and it's kind of right there. And it's very, very faint, okay? So it comes in from the left, like right over here where my mouse is, and you see it start to kind of move around. And I guess I say mist, but really what we're looking at is more of like a smoke. So that's kind of what we're looking at right there. Now, if you see this on your camera, again, this is not a ghost. This is just a mist. So you would still have to go in there and you would still have to kind of figure out what you're looking at. But that is more of a substantial piece of evidence than just an orb is, in my personal opinion. Some people freak out about orbs. I've seen people get scared looking at an orb on a camera, which is really stupid in my mind. Now, let's go to the next one. This is a video, and when we talk about how ghosts can manifest that energy, so they take the energy, they draw the energy, they always need to draw the energy from something. So that's why sometimes when you're on an investigation, you'll see your batteries drain. Sometimes physically you will drain, like you feel just really tired all of a sudden. Sometimes people feel sick, things like that. All of that is the energy being drawn. Now, here's a video of a guy who is in the middle of a haunt as it's taking place. But here's the crazy / cool thing about this one is this is a good example of an intelligent haunt. Now, what I mean by that is the guy in the video recording is asking for direct things to happen, and the spirit or the ghost is actually doing what is being asked. Check it out.
Anything. Come on, please, anything. Now, I'm not being funny, people. I'm going.
Does this come up with the name water?
Word water's just come up.
But as in the name?
As in the name. Seriously, that has just come... No, my phone's gone flat.
Because you're antagonising?
Yeah, but I'm not antagonising. I just asked.
Yeah, but we had Manifest and we had the flipping incubus demon thing come up earlier.
Okay, now they're using a spirit box. I don't know if it's an app or not. In my episode of Declassified, where we kind of went to Tennessee and did some ghost hunting, I talked about it there. I'm not a huge fan of the spirit box apps because I honestly feel like you can program an app to randomly spit out whatever you want. I just don't trust it as much as I would, if you went out and got an actual recorder or something like that. So that's what they're using, and that's what they were referencing. They're saying, oh, it's a demon, manifest, all this. I mean, take that with a grain of salt. I mean, it is, you want it to be real, but at the same time, if it's an app, I can program an app to do whatever I want.
I'm going.
You've asked for a chat and they're asking you to chat to him.
Yeah, but look, it's come up with chat. I'm not going to sit here having things thrown at me. Hello?
Stop worrying.
I'm not a huge fan of this guy because he's trying to sit here and act tough, but he's not really acting tough.
Calm down.
Hello? Are you there? Hello? If you're there, please show yourself. He's thrown it at me!
That's a good one, though. That's a good one. Now, I want to go back and I kind of want to watch the path of this mug. The mug is really, it starts out on the counter, then, and we're only going to watch it one more time, but it starts out on the counter, gets thrown on the ground, and then over this, 30 seconds to a minute, it eventually makes its way all the way to apparently the dad. Now check this out. We're going to watch it one more time, uninterrupted. I'm not gonna talk through it.
Anything. Come on, please, anything. Now, I'm not being funny, people. I'm going.
Does this come up with the name water?
Word water's just come up.
But as in the name?
As in the name. Seriously, that has just come. No, my phone's gone flat.
Because you're antagonising.
Yeah, but I'm not antagonising. I just asked.
Yeah, but we had Manifest and we had the flipping incubus demon thing come up earlier.
I'm going.
You've asked for a chat and they're asking you to chat to him.
Yeah, but look, it's come up with chat. I'm not going to sit here having things thrown at me. Hello?
Stop worrying. Calm down.
Hello? Are you there? Hello? If you're there, please show yourself. He's thrown it at me!
He thrown it at me. Okay, so yeah, anyways, that was that one. So it's, you know, just if that ever happens to you and things are moving in your house, I think the concept of what they're doing is right. But here's the other thing you need to be careful of. If you sit there and directly open up a line of communication with whatever's going on, you are, I want to say, enabling, really. So versus like if there was a spirit trying to get my attention, like so a few months ago, a book got thrown off of my bookshelf and I picked it up out loud. I said, come on, cut the shit. I actually said that out loud and it didn't happen again. That was it. That was the end of the activity. Versus if I would have freaked out, there's a high chance that more would have happened and more frequently. Or like if I would have done this, sat there and said, okay, do this, do that, do, you know, blah, blah, blah. It would have started doing things because that's what they want. They want to be seen. They want to be known. And if you don't give them that, then they're just going to leave more times than not. Unless you have a residual. If you have a residual haunt, then it's just going to do the same thing every single time. Or if the conditions are right, like every time it rains, you're going to have this happen. It's just a broken record going over and over and over again. But in that scenario, then there's nothing to be scared about, right? Because you can eventually get used to it and you know it's going to happen. This next one. This is one where they're investigating an old schoolhouse. And I think they're investigating in the day, which I really like that because realistically, here's the thing. You don't have to wait until it's dark to go and investigate a place because if a place is haunted, it's haunted. So anything that's going to happen is going to happen. So you can go in the day and you can have something happen like this.
If there's any children here, can you make a massive banging noise, please? Can you bang to show us where you are?
That's the door.
That's a good one. I like that. Now, let me go back and kind of break this down for you, everyone. So really, at the beginning of the video, if we kind of go back and take a look at it, all he asks, he says, hey, if there's anyone, you know, I forget what he said, kid, someone, something like that. He just said, make a noise. That was it. Just a noise. That's all he wants was a noise. And he got his answer. So just like the guy in the last video, this guy asks and he gets his answer.
If there's any children here, can you make a massive banging noise, please? Can you bang to show us where you are?
That's the door.
Whoever edited this was the world's worst beep, by the way.
I know you said that hasn't happened the whole time, and you were walking in.
I know, it's been open for ages.
Okay, now they're gonna go instead of whoever edited. Let me break this down. Okay, as the door shuts.
That's the door.
What that is, so you're actually hearing like a brick sliding across the ground. That's actually one of those door stops. So that's some weight. So if you have any wind or anything like that, it's not gonna blow. That's the whole point of a door stop, right? I don't know if you guys have ever seen those old vintage iron looking ones. Yeah, like that looks kind of like a brick or a big block of some sort. And that's that sound you hear. It sounds exactly like a block. So for that to move, it's got to have some pressure or some force behind it, which is impressive.
I know you said that hasn't happened the whole time, and you
Worst censor ever. I hate whoever edited this. But that's it. So that's kind of what we're looking at right there. More direct responses. Now, here's another video. We're going to watch it. It's almost like an unfinished news video, but I like it. Now, when we talk about the haunted things that we just looked at, so mist, Definitely, if you have any cameras, look for that. Start looking for that when you get alerts. And then we talked about moving objects. So we talked about the energy. So the orbs are the energy. From that, spirits can manifest themselves in different ways. Now, those different ways we talked about and what we looked at was throwing objects. Opening and closing doors is a real common one. Knocking is another one. And, you know, with that horse that we were talking about earlier, when it's like, hey, that could also be a manifestation. So that's why I said people are saying it's a skinwalker, but I also genuinely think that it could just be a ghost too. And that's another way they would manifest themselves. So that's called a disembodied voice. And all of those are ways they can take the energy and show themselves. Then you have the granddaddy of them all. You have an actual full-bodied apparition. Now, this is it's kind of like a half-finished news story of a girl working at Market Basket. Now, if we're down south now, we're in Florida. But when I was up in New Hampshire and when the show was up in New Hampshire, there was Market Baskets all over the place. So if you're down south, think of like a Publix. Up north, we didn't have Publix, we had Market Baskets. Now, this girl claims she saw a full-bodied apparition while she was working.
I actually don't believe in ghosts until this moment happened to me. I was writing on a cake for a customer here, and then when I turned around to walk back to the customer, the little lady was chilling over there.
Which, to be fair, she said something. She's like, I didn't believe in ghosts, or I don't believe in ghosts until now. And so that's honestly, when you take a look at people who you want to go ghost hunting with, a lot of the camera people that you would bring, you want to bring skeptics because they're not scared. They'll go in, and generally by the time they're done filming at a couple spots, they believe, just like this, because they've seen stuff.
So she was right here, just staring at me. I saw this woman she was older and kind of short, and she had gray curly hair with like a little nightgown on and a nightcap. And I looked down, just kind of like not registering what I was seeing. And then when I looked up, she was gone. And so I went up and down all the aisles looking for her, and I just decided she was a ghost.
Very well could have been. Now, that's not uncommon. Generally, when like ghosts are seen and things like that, they're just staring, right? And they don't move. Like there's been accounts where people have gone up and tried to talk to them. They don't respond. They're just staring off into the distance. So I'm on board with all of that. And then she did the right thing. If she looked on, really, you could look on either side of the aisle and do that a couple times. And at some point you should see that person if they ran off. But yeah, I want to believe this.
She looked kind of like melancholy and a little angry. So it was kind of a creepy kind of sense, but it was something.
Now we're going to start getting into where people don't believe it as much, which is fair. I think even when I put out that Declassified episode, people were like, oh man, it could have, they're already debunking it. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. You're always going to have either side.
I had no idea it was going to blow up. I mean, I just posted a random status on Facebook saying, hey, has anyone seen a ghost? Because I just wanted to like connect with people. It's kind of cool, like people have asked me about it. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I would love to see the ghost.
I'm still looking for her. I haven't seen it. And
that's the ghost right there. Holy shit. Okay. I'm just kidding.
I'm here every day, so I'm not one of the fortunate ones.
You're there every day? Like, come on now. Like, get it right. Put together a list or something.
And maybe I'm picking the wrong time.
We're looking. We're trying to find her. Maybe she's from the area. Maybe she's looking for someone. Maybe she's just not crossed over. I don't know.
It would be kind of cool to see it.
She was like a smart ass.
It doesn't seem like the ghost is, hurting anyone. So it's kind of cool to think that there's an afterlife, maybe.
I don't know. And this is why I say it's like a half-finished news story, because this would be the talking.
I don't believe in them.
I don't know. I just don't believe in ghosts. I've been coming here for 35 years. I've never seen a ghost.
It'd be funny if someone came on, yeah, we've been open for 20 years. And I mean, come on now. But yeah.
I guess I would want her to come back, maybe, and like I could talk to her. I don't know if you can talk to ghosts, but I think it'd be cool just to see what she's up to.
Now, I do think the one thing that this punk chick did wrong is, like, after you see something like that, the first thing you should do is go and do some research, right? She's like, well, I don't know if you can talk to ghosts. Like, did you look up anything at all? Like, have you, I mean, so this story was cool in the sense of I wanted to bring it to your attention that, like I said, if a place is haunted, it's going to be haunted. And things will happen in the day, at the night. If the conditions are right and the energy and everything in the air is right, things will happen. And you got to think about how long the world has been around. Like, we're not the first people to ever be on the planet. So even if you go and build a new house, there's a good chance that someone has died somewhere on that land. And depending on what state you're in, you have like Indian burial grounds all over the place, this, that, the other thing. So there's always something that could potentially, make a spot haunted. And then grocery stores, airports are a good example because you have people going in and out every single day. Think about all the emotions. Some people really frustrated, some people really happy, some people sad. It's also the energies from those emotions that can create energies that can create and manifest hauntings and things like that too. So yeah, a lot of people in and out of a grocery store every day. So that opens up the possibilities to a lot more. Now, let's take a look at another one. When we take a look at this one was kind of cool. I like this. Now, what you're going to see is you're going to see the camera pan towards the front door, and you're going to see not quite full body apparitions, just the feet. I think it's just the feet. It's going to be right here. There we go. Let me go back. I'll break that down for you guys. So it's going to be right here. We're looking right here where my mouse is. Now they're going to show you again. Okay. Now, things like that are really, really cool to capture. I'm a huge fan of that, really, because once you get something like this, it's usually you don't notice it when you're actually filming. You notice it once you go back and review the footage, which in my mind, that has always been scarier because if I see it right then and there, I can react, I can think, versus like if you go back and I'm watching it and I see something that was, there, like right next to me at the time, that's a totally different feeling. It's a cool feeling, but it's a totally different feeling. And I think the other thing too is the fact that they actually, so when the camera pans, you see right here, it's already there, but then it doesn't just stay there like a glare. You see it start to walk. So cool. So cool. Now, when you're actually going out and you're on an investigation, that's really what you're looking for. More times than not, it's going to be something small like that, an object moving. It's nothing like Hollywood makes it seem. So good footage there. Now, we're talking about what could be moving some of these objects. We're kind of looking. This one I'm on the fence about, but I'm going to put it in here just because it's going to lead into kind of where we're going with this. All right, check this out. They're going to basically go by this doorway and they're going to claim that they see a lady standing there. And it was already right there, but they're going to slow it down. Okay. So it's going to be in this doorway. They're saying they see her, and I'll try to pause it once they get to it. Right there. Okay. So they say they see a lady here. The video calls it a scary lady. It almost just kind of looks like someone in the old Victorian, like a maid outfit almost. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's fake. And now see how it's roped off? That could just be a worker as well. Actually, that kind of slightly gave me goosebumps, but, this one's real tough because it's roped off. So, you don't know if that's a staff cleaning. You don't know, any details about it. So I watch it because I want it to be real, but you gotta be careful with something like this. So again, the camera goes back and then they're saying the lady's kind of right there. I don't know. So I want to believe it, but you really have to be careful. That's kind of the biggest thing. Now, here's one. We've talked about ghost brides before. Now we're gonna play a footage or a clip of ghost bride is what they're saying it is. People driving, and then there's a lady standing in the road. But what's kind of weird about this video is a guy gets out and he walks in front of the vehicle, and as he walks, the lady disappears. Check it out.
На самом деле просили, потому что шаги пожарные, все, скоро уже дома будем. Завтра на работу шли.
There's the lady. There she is. Now, by the way, if you are driving down the road and you see something like this one's different than some of the other... Ooh, that gave me chills. This is different than some of the other ghost brides that we've talked about because this one's almost transparent. Whereas some of the other ones we've looked at are like actual, they're full body. You can't see through them. This one you almost can. Now, you're driving down the road, you see this. What do you do? And that's where the ghost kind of disappears, when the guy walks in front. Okay, now I'm going to play it one more time full screen for you so you can see it. Okay, now here's my question. This is where, okay, did they not see this? Oh, I do have goosebumps. Did they not see this when they were actually driving? Because the one thing I always look for in videos is the reaction. And I'm really not seeing any reaction from anyone in this video. Actually, the lady in it's still talking calmly. Whereas like if you drive and you see this, wouldn't you freak out? Here's the other thing is, why did they stop? So if they can't see this and they're recording and it's probably just on their dash cam, what made them stop? Was it this causing mechanical issues, or did they just get the feeling that they needed to stop? So there's a lot of questions I have as far as this and kind of what we're looking at. See, there's no reaction. So I'm almost leaning towards the side of they didn't see this until they watch the video back, which is very common. And there's a lot of times too where we're so into our daily lives and kind of what we're doing where we don't notice stuff. And that could be a case of this. But this one I would say is real only because just the way it goes down and it kind of makes sense to me. Now, let's take a look at this. This is where we're going to get into two clips that will make your hair stand up. This is a news story. The reason this is a news story, it is another baby sleeping in a crib, but this time they're thinking a demon was watching over that baby. Not watching over like protecting, but like literally watching the baby. Now, the reason it's a news video is because it's only a picture that went viral. It's not a video, just a picture. So this is the video, and we'll pause once we get to the actual thing.
A grandma has caught something quite terrifying in her granddaughter's room. Tori McKenzie is begging for help online after capturing what she describes as a demon standing over her grandchild's bed. Miss McKenzie set up a motion-activated camera at her son's house after complaints his 2-year-old daughter Amber was talking to something unseen in the middle of the night.
All right, so what we're looking at right here is what they're saying the demon is. Now, this would be absolutely terrifying if you saw this over your baby's crib. I've never seen anything like this. Now, I don't necessarily agree with the description that they're going to give, but take a look at this. Now, there's a couple key features that we're going to talk about and think about everything we've learned up until this point. We're looking for certain things. Now, so I'm kind of looking at the eyes right here. Those eyes look reflective. Think about some of the other shadow creatures and things we've seen on this series. Some of them did have reflective eyes. That's one right there that does have reflective eyes. Those very, very blatantly stand out to me. Also, the way it's standing is very odd. Ooh, that's giving me goosebumps. The way it's standing is very odd. I would say almost like an elderly person who's got back problems, right? Like just picture a little cane in their hand. I don't want to say it. It's either that or a zombie. And, you know, I don't want to lean down the road of a zombie because that makes no sense. So what is this, right? So if it's not a zombie, could it be an elderly person, or could it be what they're saying? Is this what a demon looks like, right? Someone who is been tortured in whatever afterlife. Is this what we're looking at? But what are you going to do? You see this on your camera in your house.
The grandma checked her camera's app days later to find a bone-chilling image of a figure standing very close to her sleeping grandchildren with what she described as it having a horn on its head and long claws.
Okay. Now, this is where I don't agree with that. Let me go back. I see absolutely no horn on this thing's head. Look, as a matter of fact, I actually see it rounded. Here's the other thing. This looks like a baseball cap. Like I see a line right there, and I see kind of where you have the little spot where the Velcro, the thingy. It looks like that, and the hat's backwards. I don't necessarily see the claws. Like what I see right here is it kind of looks like it's like this. And what we're seeing right here, those are the railings in the back. I don't see the claws. I don't see the horns. I think someone saw something. They got scared, and then they just, their imagination took control. But what I will point out, other than the eyes, is the bottom. If you look at kind of like the feet and the head, that's all very solid. But now when you look at like the midsection, like the legs, it's starting to get a little bit transparent. So it's almost looking like it's more of that mist we were talking about earlier.
The creature is captured standing awkwardly, looking upwards just before 3 a.m. Miss Mackenzie says when she tried to rid the house of the evil presence by burning oils, she claimed cabinets and curtains opened and closed and music began to play by itself. The grandmother insists the discovery has left her fearing for her grandchildren's lives and that the photo is real and could not be photoshopped because she does not have the technical know-how to change the image.
Now, that's kind of what we're talking about right there. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? What do we think? Leave it in the comments down below. I think this is real. I have no reason not to believe this. Now, it opens the door to a lot of questions. What is it? Right? What is it? I would, if this was me, now we're talking about what I would do in this scenario. First thing I would do, I would take this picture and I would go into old photo books. Anything I had, grandparents, great-grandparents, you know, whatever. Could this be a relative? Like, does that face kind of look similar to something I know? And then apart from that, then really your next step is to go to your town library and start pulling some of the old records. Yeah, I think in this scenario, you definitely have to go and you have to do something about this. So makes sense also when she tried to get rid of it. Generally, when they do genuine exorcisms and things like that, if you're doing that, it's gonna fight back, and the way it fights back is kind of paranormal hangwire is really what it could be categorized as. Now I'm gonna show you one more. And I really don't like this video because this one even scares me. All right, let's break it down. This is in Mexico. I don't know where in Mexico it is, somewhere in Mexico, and it's a haunted store. So that's really what we've talked about. If a place is going to be haunted, it's going to be haunted. This is a haunted party store, so things happen all the time. Now you're just going to see objects moving. We're going to get to one clip. I'm going to pause it and hold on because it's gonna make your skin crawl. All right, so right here, we're gonna see. Okay, so that was kind of funny actually. Now, I don't know if I would scream like that. Like generally, if something got moved. Now, what we're looking at right here is some paper towels or napkins or whatever. The way that moves is with force. It's not like it just fell off. It's like that's intentionally being thrown at someone. Okay. Now, when we talk about objects moving, I do think there is some intent, like the cup that we saw. Everything is leading up to this clip, so there's some intent behind that. Now, I don't know if I would scream like that. I guess it's a natural reaction, but she screams. I don't know why that makes me laugh, but it does. That's even funnier. Okay, now it's nighttime at the store. So we're in like the same party store. There's a lot of piñatas, which equally creepy, right? Dolls, piñatas, things like that, equally creepy. Check this out. It's going to be more objects moving. There we go. Now, there is one thing I want to point out here. I don't remember what episode it was. It might have been last episode, the barbershop, where I talked about the chandeliers. So when the ghost pulled that apron thing up on the barbershop chair, I was like, also look at the light. It started moving. So it's not uncommon for chandeliers, light fixtures, fans to kind of start moving when activity picks up. So I have a theory. So generally, and I've had a couple experiences with this, where something happens and the air around you gets colder, or you start to feel a wind. It could be that. Now, this is an extreme scenario. So same concept as like I talked about with the light, the chandeliers, fans, all of this. This is now a piñata that just starts going hang wire. It's kind of crazy. But the other thing too is there's another piñata right next to it. So if it was the wind, you'd see something else blowing in there. Well, I guess you kind of start to see the other one next to it start to move. But I would say at this point now you're looking at a difference. Now that one's hauling, man. That one's hauling. Now, around here you're going to see an object kind of fall and then go across the room, I believe. Now we're getting to the grand finale. What we've seen up until this point is just objects moving, all right? I want to warn you guys, this is going to give me goosebumps. I don't like looking at this. But we talked about what could be making objects move. We talked about in the last video, I'm already getting goosebumps. We talked about in the last video, what was that creature? Well, in Mexico, they may have captured it. Check it out. It's going to be right about here. Come on. Where is it? Okay, when that disappears, it should be there. There we go. Oof, I don't like looking at that. Oh man, that's bad. Woo. One more time. Here we go. Just for all of you. Close up. Oh, I got goosebumps. All right, so the rest of this, I'm not going to play kind of that as we get into that. The rest of this is kind of him doing a follow-up. He goes in the next morning and things are thrown all over the place. Woo, I've got goosebumps all over. I'm like, got goosebumps and sweating. I hate looking at that. We've talked about it in other episodes where it's the eyes, man, the eyes. That's kind of what gets me. I'm going to go back to it. Oh, it's right there. Oh, that gives me, I'm going to get off of that. That gives me such goosebumps. I don't like looking at it. I don't like it. But what if that's what was in the baby's room? I don't know. I have no clue. And there's things like that are out there, right? So let me know what you think. What would you do if that was in your store or in your house? Also, I appreciate all of our VIP members. You guys, awesome. Honestly, you guys are all awesome. Show such support. And we're going to have a VIP show. The next VIP show we do, I've got a surprise for everyone. And really, we're going to dive into a lot more paranormal. And there's a lot of clips that I've got already pulled that are going to pick up more where we left off tonight. So as always, I appreciate the support. I will see all of you guys next time on After Hour Comedy Declassified.